Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. I hope everybody's having a good Monday morning so far. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Greg Calderon. I am one of the life sales directors here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Today, we're going to be joined by John Enting. Good morning, John. How are you?
Fantastic. Good morning.
I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. So we're happy to have John with us today. He's going to give us some awesome information regarding Unity Funeral and Estate Trust Solutions here in just a few moments. So we really appreciate your time. Before we do that, I just want to take a brief moment to talk a little bit about IAMS and some different ways that we can help you make even more money at your practice. First, we like to talk about our new producer builders. It's a great program that we offer that helps you grow your production. It really incentivizes you when you write business through us. As you can see, there's multiple levels. It starts at the $100,000 level, and at that level, you can get, an iPad, $750 worth of cash, a 1,500-piece postcard mailing. And then it kind of builds up as you write more business through us. You can redeem that in to get more money, basically put back into your business so that way you can keep getting in front of new clients to grow your clientele. We also have our Business Builders program. This is a program where you can refer agents to contract with IAMS and you get bonuses when the agents contract with us. It's also a great way to get in on some of the revenue of your fellow agents because you can get paid out a quarterly bonus based on the business that the agents that you refer to us write. You can also get marketing reimbursement money off of this, so it's a great program. I would encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions on that. As far as our back office support, IAMS has a goal of saving you time. We want to help you work smarter and not harder. We have a lot of assistance available for life and annuity quotes, commission support, case design assistance. So this is something that a lot of our producers really take advantage of and saves them a lot of time, and they are writing more policies and spending more time with clients because they're spending less time doing their own back office support. Firelight. We do have access to Firelight through the IAMS website. It is an awesome e-app solution that helps really make everything easier when it comes from the beginning to the end of the application. You don't have to deal with paper trails, and it just makes it really easy. So if you have any questions on how to do Firelight applications, you can always reach out to your annuity sales director. It's great for accelerating applications. Here's just a little bit more information about it. This kind of goes over the carriers. It's mostly for annuities at this point, but we do have more and more life carriers that are being added to Firelight all the time. So keep an eye on that. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to us. As far as the creative marketing solutions we offer, we have a vast portfolio of creative marketing solutions for you, whether it's turnkey solutions like flyers, handouts, newsletters, agency solutions like business cards, brochures, logos, stationaries, and digital solutions, which in the environment that we are in today, digital solutions are probably the best asset that one can have, especially with everything that's been going on in the world. So we are here to assist with any digital needs, personal websites, social media accounts, email marketing consulting. So we've kind of got you covered on all bases. Feel free to reach out to us if you are needing any assistance with anything on the screen right now. Our IAMS website is a great tool that you get access to once you are contracted with us. We've got a bunch of sales tools out there. There's a term quote engine out there. It's always accessible 24/7. You can access forms online for all the different companies, and there is a really handy form search tool that lets you look up different applications or just different forms that you need for business on day-to-day. So it's a great tool. Also on our website is where you'll find our retirement analyzer. Retirement Analyzer is a great tool to use with clients so that they can be better prepared for retirement. most people don't know when exactly they're going to run out of money in retirement, and this allows you to put in all their information. It gives you a comprehensive report of when they are going to run out of money based on their current assets and their income needs. So it's a great way to help clients and to uncover opportunities to help them reallocate their assets. IAMS Wealth Management. We do a lot more than just annuities in life. We also have our wealth management side. They can help you increase your revenue through managed money fees. Most advisors will see an increase in fixed and increased revenue as well. So this is also a great tool. And then the Life and Annuity Academies. So the Life and Annuity Academies are something we do several times a year. We've actually got one coming up next month, June 15th, 16th, and 17th in Des Moines, Iowa. These academies are a great way to take your practice to the next level. We're going to go ahead and do a quick poll to see if you're interested in attending. If you are interested in attending, go ahead and hit yes for me on this poll. So the one that we have coming up on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of June is going to be an Athene Academy. They are the #1 FIA carrier in the industry. I do like to tell people to keep in mind, even though it is an academy based around Athene, they still have a lot of very useful life stuff if you're more on the life side. So they're great for life and annuity agents, no matter who the company that's sponsoring it is. I forgot to launch that poll, so I'll wait just a moment here. If you're interested in the Life and Annuity Academies, go ahead and click on that yes button. And I know that we've got that one coming up on June 15th, 16th, and 17th in Des Moines. I think that one still has some open spots, but I know that we've also got a couple of more coming up in the fall. So even if you can't make it to that one, we've got more academies coming up that we can talk to you about and see if we can get you sent out to one. I'm going to give just a couple more seconds here, and then we're going to go ahead and move on from that. I do appreciate everybody who gave me a response on that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this. Thanks for the answers, guys. So if you want to learn more information about these academies, or you think you might be a good fit for one, I would encourage you to reach out to your life or annuity sales director, or give us a call if you don't have one. All right, so for our summits, our top producer summits for 2022 in October, we've got it coming up at the Greenbrier Resort. This slide kind of briefly goes over the different requirements in order to qualify for that trip. It is an all expenses paid trip. The Greenbrier is a lovely venue. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we like to incentivize our writers who perform really well by sending them on trips, and our agents have a lot of fun at these events. So keep that in mind. We are on Facebook and LinkedIn. If you find us on Facebook at IAMS Inc. or LinkedIn, we also have a YouTube channel at IAMS Inc. So there's a lot of really handy videos out there, training materials, other things like that for our Life and Academy or our Life and Annuity agents to look at. And with that, I think that we're going to go ahead and get it over to John.
All right. I think we're good to go here. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for attending the webinar this morning. The first thing I'd like to let you know is I am in the field. I'm not a home office employee of Unity Financial. I actually implement their products into our practice. So I like to let you know that up front, because it's different when you're getting it from somebody that's in the field using it every day versus somebody who's sitting at the home office. So what we'll do today is we'll talk about Unity Financial. Let me see if I can click the slide here.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So here's what we're going to cover today. I'll talk to you a little bit about Unity Financial, the opportunity that exists with the product they use. Talk about the trust itself that's free to the consumer. and then the product we use to fund the trust, and then I'll give you some presentation ideas and tools that you can kind of run with today. But first and foremost, let's take a look at Unity. Their financial strength, the B++ rating, and we feel that rating is trending upwards. This is all they do. They specialize in this product, so they're not doing 9 or 10 different things. Their sole focus is to be the best at the irrevocable funeral trust and estate planning trust. It's a guaranteed issue, so no health questions. You know, if you spend your time with the client that you're going to get the deal done for them and you're going to get paid. Real simple one-page application. Today, for the sake of time, I'm going to talk to you about single premium, which 99.9% of our clients, that's what we're using at Inting Financial Services. I'll talk to you a little bit about the 1035 exchanges and why they're important that they accept them at Unity. And then again, we want to get paid for the work that we're doing, so we'll talk a little bit about the compensation. So here's just a quick look at the financial stability of Unity. Again, we believe in strong carriers for the simple fact that we want them to be there when your client needs them the most. And that with this one is going to relate to the time of their passing. So again, you can take a look at these financials. Get them to pop up there. There we go. So there's their assets. You can see their growth since 2007. They're really moving forward. And so really what we're here to talk about today is, you know, planning. And life does require planning. We're all in the planning business. We all know that people insure themselves for things that might happen or save money for things that may happen. And I've listed those things on the left there for you. But the one thing that a lot of people don't take the time to plan for is the inevitable, and that's when they pass away. And so we know that it makes sense to plan, but really it's one of the hardest things to talk about, and we've got to figure out who's going to get that planning done. And in our business, there's two separate ways to go. You can either go to a funeral home and prepay your funeral, or you can use a final expense side, which is where we would come in as advisors and agents. But somebody has got to make these decisions. So I just want to share with you a little brief story on me. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2 years old. I was never really close to my father. But that being said, I've always been the entrepreneur of the family. So anytime something goes down, my phone usually rings seeking my opinion on it. And that wasn't any different on January 21st of 2011 when my sister called me to tell me my dad had passed away. The next day, I found myself sitting in a funeral director's office, and he was asking us all kinds of questions like, what was my dad's mother's maiden name? What was his highest rank in the military? His favorite flower? Who were the pallbearers? And this was information that I had never discussed with my father, neither had my siblings. So we really didn't have any idea. But what that made me realize very quickly was all of these plans that we had done for our clients, their families weren't going to have to go through this. They were going to know exactly what was going on and exactly what it needed to be done at the time of the passing of one of their family members. So when we start talking to clients about this, the first thing we'll ask them is if they know how much a funeral costs. You know, the average person is really kind of out of touch with how much a funeral costs. But right now, when we look at a funeral, we're looking at somewhere around $14,000. I just had a client pass away. Their family did a traditional funeral, and it was almost $16,000. So we're not afraid to ask our clients, if something happened to you yesterday, how would your funeral be paid for today? And then the key part there is you have to really be quiet and listen, because they're going to tell you where you need to tell them to pull the money from to get this plan done. So again, that listening component is very important. The opportunity for us as advisors is huge. They did a national survey. 72% of the people thought it was a good idea to pre-plan for their funeral. 64% of them had not taken any steps to do so. And the one thing I know about everybody on this call, your clients aren't any different than mine. These are people that have worked their whole life, saved their money, they want to go into retirement, and they want to have their affairs in orders when they do so. So the reason we think the people don't do the planning is we don't think a husband wakes up next to his wife on a beautiful day and says, "Hey, honey, let's run on down and pick our casket out today." The human mind can only comprehend its own demise for about 11 seconds, and then it moves on to something else. And so again, your clients aren't any different, but if we have the ability to help them and put them in a better position, again, that's what our job is, and this can help you do that with your client. We all know that, it's exciting to be in this business. I love this statistic. From 2010 until 2025, 80 million people are expected to file for Social Security benefits. That is a very large pool of prospects who are now starting to think about end of life planning or having all of their affairs in order as they move through that retirement process. So we will also talk to the clients and start the conversation talking about nursing home care. I think the statistic is 93% of all Americans have zero nursing home care in place. And what that means to them is if they get sick and need care, that at some point they're going to make them spend down all of their assets if they don't have the policies in place to pay for that care. So we'll share that with them, and we'll also share with them that this is a good opportunity to maybe put some money away that we know that we can protect from that Medicaid spend down in the event that they would have to qualify for Medicaid at some point in the future. So how's it all fit together? Really, all we're doing is we're taking that financial protection of life insurance and we're going to utilize an irrevocable funeral trust to hold the asset. So your clients are permanently setting that fund aside for final expenses in the future, which is something we know for sure they're going to need at some point in the future. And then by using that trust to hold the funds, we're effectively spending their assets down. And this is going to help prevent them from being counted as an asset during that Medicaid consideration. So let's talk a little bit first about the Unity Funeral Trust. Again, we'll talk about the single premium. Now you can use 1, 3, 5 pay plans. It's dollar for dollar coverage on it. Most states are going to allow up to $15,000 by state law to be put into an irrevocable funeral trust, but it will give them 100% protection from that Medicaid spend down. So the way we like to articulate to our clients is you have this money sitting here that's on the countable side. If you get sick and need care, we're going to show you how to move it to the non-countable side so that we can protect that asset for you. Once the policy is issued, 30 days after issue, it's going to be assigned to the Unity Financial Trust, and that money will sit there and get simple growth declared annually by the insurance company. Then when the client passes away, it's going to be paid directly to the funeral home or the mortuary to take care of their final expenses and whatever ceremonies are going to be held. And then any remaining money is returned to the estate of the insured. I'm going to chat with you a little bit here in another slide about that and why it's important not to overfund the plan if all possible. And then the irrevocable funeral trust, again, is protected from nursing homes, long-term care facilities, and creditors. Everything that pays out is going to be paid out at 100% tax-free. So you can take a look at this. I just did this so that you can compare against traditional savings instruments where people might pull money from to take care of their funeral. You can see that we're getting a yes in every box that we're looking for to be able to protect the money. So again, this will protect the asset for the client, and the client's going to be happy to know that you're looking out for them to be able to share with them things that will actually protect their assets. So you can always be sure that 100% of the money that you put in there is going to be there when you need it. It's portable. So if you go prepay at a funeral home here in Columbus, Ohio, and then your kids and grandkids decide that they're taking a job in Florida and you're going to follow them down there, you don't have to worry about being locked into a particular funeral home. It's portable. It'll be accepted by any funeral home in the country. So again, that flexibility of not having to go choose the funeral services and the merchandise ahead of time that you would have to do at a funeral home, we're just now setting the money aside for those. And if they ever want to go down to a funeral home and initiate that and show the funeral home that they have this contract, I'm sure the funeral home would love to work with them, but it's not necessary in order to get the plan put in place. And then it's immediately available when your client passes away. And the reason that's important is funeral homes want paid. And if you don't have other liquid assets, if you're waiting for money from an annuity or a life insurance policy, you've got to file claims. You got to get the claim forms, get the death certificates, file the claims. That can be a 4 to 6 week process. This money is going to be paid within 48 hours to the funeral home so that your client and their family can move on with the thing that's important at that time. So here's how the trust itself works. In essence, what we're doing is we're finding the money. So whether it's savings, 1035 exchanges, whatever that might be, and we're going to buy a life insurance policy with it. Now, just to put this in perspective, if you've ever sold a single premium life insurance policy, typically if you gave a company $15,000, they may give you $25,000 in death benefit, and then you have access to that cash value. What's going to happen with the trust, it's a little different. You would put the 15,000 in, you're going to start at about 15,250 in death benefit, and then that money will, once it gets into the irrevocable funeral trust, will earn interest on the funds. I'm going to say something before I move on to this last part. This is not an investment. This is about protecting money, not about the growth of money. So when I show you the interest rates later, you can kind of put that in perspective when you're talking to your clients. But what would happen is once the client passes away, either you or the client would call Unity Financial. You would give them the contact information of the funeral provider, and then at that point, you're out of it. Unity will work directly with the funeral provider to make sure that they get their funds within 48 hours, and they will not require a death certificate to get that processed for your client. Any excess funds that are left will be paid back to the estate. The reason for that is they've allowed you to get those excluded from Medicaid. So if you had someone who was in a nursing home for 12 months before they died, Medicaid does have the right to access any excess funds to get estate recovery. So again, that's why we're not big fans of overfunding the program. So there's two trusts with Unity. There's the Irrevocable Funeral Trust. You can put up to $15,000 or your state limit. I've got a state limit chart here. I'll show you in a little bit. I see we have a lot of people on here, probably from all over the place. So we'll show you what that chart looks like. Generally, they're considered an exempt asset by Medicaid, so they're not subject to that 5-year look-back period. You could literally have somebody trying to qualify for Medicaid on June 1st, say a married couple was, you could shove $30,000 into the plan and get that excluded immediately from Medicaid spend down. Again, funeral costs are paid first. Any excess funds are going to go back to the estate of the insured. They also have an estate planning trust. So the Unity Estate Trust, you can put up to $85,000 maximum. It's going to be excluded after a 5-year look back period. So this might be something where you ask a client, hey, have you prepaid your funeral? They say, yeah, you know what? We went down to Sheddinger Funeral Home and took care of all that. Your next question to them would be, do you have any other assets that you know you'd like to go to your kids, your church, a charity that you would like to know at some point in the future is 100% protected from a Medicaid spend down if you get sick and need care, then that really opens up the opportunity to pick up some bigger deals. We have many of those on the books that we're through the 5-year look back periods now, and those families are never going to lose that money due to a nursing home situation. So I speak at the IAMS Agent Academies that Greg was referring to earlier, and when I do, I usually get this question from the attendees. Well, John, when do I use which trust? And so let's break it down here for a minute. The funeral expense trust is great for crisis planning. You can write this on somebody who's currently in a nursing home and is spending their money at a nursing home. You can write a plan on them. Maybe you have a spouse that's at home and she's she's seeing the money being depleted going to the nursing home. You can write a plan on each of them and get that money off of the accountable table immediately. And then maybe you have somebody who they're not sick right now, but they're ill and they may need care within the next 5 years. Medicaid's possible. It's great for that. And a lot of times where we do a lot of our business is just healthy people who they just want the funeral expenses. They just want the money put away, know it's done, know it's protected, know they have a plan written out for their family and just move on down the road. And that's okay too. And then again, with the estate planning trust, maybe Medicaid's a non-issue. They're both in great health. They don't think they're ever going to need care, but they want, in case they do, they want to make sure they've got some assets set aside for their children or their charities. Then they could use the estate planning trust. So the product itself with Unity, with the Irrevocable Funeral Trust, you have a minimum issue of $500, a maximum of $15,000, again, depending on the state you're in. We do the single premium plans. You can get those issued anywhere from age 10 to 99. So literally, grandparents, you could, if they have excess cash and they want to do something for their grandkids, you could certainly bring this up to them, and it's a great way getting money off the table and leaving something that the grandkids have for the future. And then on the single pay for the estate planning trust, again, minimum issue 2,000, maximum issue 85,000. And then you got to watch the ages on that, ages 50 to 90. So really, it's pretty simple. We got the single guarantee issue product. It's going to be put in there. It's going to get a little bump up in death benefit. We're going to assign that to the trust. When the client passes away, the money's going to pay out of the trust. Here's the growth rates. I talk to a lot of agents and they'll say, well, John, a 0.5% isn't very good. Neither's a 0.05. And I tell them that's true. And you can get better interest rates on $15,000 anywhere. But that's not what we're doing this for. We're not trying to grow the money. Sure, we'll take a little growth, but we're trying to make sure that money is protected and it is there when the client and their family need it the most, and that's going to be at death. Also, it doesn't get any easier than this. I like to tell the story when I wrote my first annuity back in 1993. I wrote it on a gentleman that owned a dry cleaner in Marion, Ohio. And when I went in to do his application, a couple things happened that day. Number one, I couldn't believe somebody was going to let me walk out with a $25,000 check. And number two, when I did the application for the client, it was 3 pages, and the last page was his receipt. As you know today, whether it's life insurance, annuities, managed money, long-term care insurance, the paperwork is endless. And what they've done here is they've made it very simple for you. It's literally the application page, the disclosure for the product, whether it's the estate planning trust or the funeral trust, and your state replacement form if your state calls for that. That's it. You can write the application in 10 minutes. And if you're writing it on a current client, you probably have all their information. You can write it in 5. But the point to that is, no matter how long it takes you to write the application, if you write it, it's getting issued, you're getting paid, and you've done a great service for your client. So here's the bottom of the page. You're just going to have the client sign off on it. You're going to sign off on it as the agent. This page here, if you had a client, I'll go back to the reference I used about somebody trying to qualify for Medicaid on June 1st, and here we are on May 16th, you could actually have them sign this, and you could waive that 30-day waiting period between the time the policy issues and gets put into the irrevocable funeral trust. You could waive that so that the client could have all that done and completed and ready to go for what they're trying to do for Medicaid on the first of the month. So here's everything that the irrevocable funeral trust covers. You know, I lost my mom last year on July 21st, and I had to go through all this all over again. And the nice thing about it was everything that possibly needed to be paid for at the funeral, we could pay with it with the plan. So again, everything that we would need to complete a funeral, you're going to see that that will cover it under the irrevocable funeral trust. So here's your state limits, and we'll talk about them here for a moment. I'm going to point out a couple things that I always get asked questions on. Number one, let's say you're in Alabama. What is a goods and services contract? What a goods and services contract means is if your client was in a nursing home and then they passed away, the Medicaid coordinator may ask just for a copy from the funeral home of all the goods and services that you paid with the money for, and which makes sense because again they're in the estate recovery business. So if we look down through here, you're going to see that the 15,000, most states have it, but let's go down to a state where it doesn't have it, and let's use Nebraska, where Insurance Agency Marketing Services is located. If I was consulting with an agent there and he said, well, John, you know, a funeral's 15,000, but we can only put 4,978 into an irrevocable funeral trust. The way I would present it to a client is, hey, Mrs. Jones, look, Nebraska has a funny rule. We can only put the 4,978 in, but since we both know your funeral is going to cost 15,000, we're going to take the other 10 and we're going to put it into the estate planning trust. Yes, it has a 5-year look back, but we all know how quick 5 years goes by, and you're still going to need 15,000 regardless. So again, there is a way to get it done for the client. Sometimes we just have to be a little more creative than other times. So what about when we're presenting it to clients? This is really where the rubber meets the road. I was very fortunate to have a great mentor in this business that's brought me up through the ranks. I've been doing this since 1987, so I got a little bit under my belt. But one of the first things he ever told me was, if you want to talk to somebody about something, talk to a client, talk to a current client. So start with annual reviews. It's a real simple question when you do your annual review. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, have you prepaid your funeral? If they tell you no, they have basically just said to you, no, we haven't. Tell us more. How do we get that done without going to a funeral home? Because they're obviously not interested in going to a funeral home. So we'll review the issues with them and discuss the needs. I might even start out with something like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, would you agree that all the work I've done for you has worked out the way that we intended it to? Because if they're telling you yes, that's always good if you're working with someone that's shaking their head yes and telling you you're doing a good job. And then you're going to stress those benefits of planning ahead. When I spoke at the last Agent Academy, or maybe it was a couple of them ago, I had somebody come up to me and they said, hey, John, I don't know how to say this to you, but man, I really wish I had your story about your dad. And I said, well, I understand where you're coming from, but you do have my story. You just tell the people you have a friend whose dad passed away, and this is what happened when he went to the funeral director's office, because it's the truth. It's exactly what happened to me, and it's exactly what's going to happen to your client's family members. So again, it can be used with any funeral home. Get on your Google machines in the area you live and just type fraud with prepay funeral homes and see the funeral homes that will come up, and you can see articles where people have paid at funeral homes and that money wasn't there when they went to take care of the funeral. So again, with an insurance carrier holding the money, we know there's rules and regulations and that money is going to be there. And then the 1035 exchange on existing life insurance, a lot of your clients don't realize if they own an old paid up life insurance policy and the death benefit on it is $12,000 and the cash value is $10,000, they don't realize that they don't get both of those numbers. They don't get 22,000. They get whatever's bigger. So in that case, it's a $12,000 death benefit. What we would say to a client, well, Mrs. Jones, if you know you're using this for your final expenses, you might want to think of taking that 10,000 cash, transferring it into the irrevocable funeral trust and protecting the cash value, because if you don't and you get sick and need care, guess what they're going to make you spend. So again, we're taking it from the countable side and we're moving it to the non-countable. And then it's just like anything else, closing that sale, you're going to give the client the peace of mind and knowing they've planned ahead and that the funds are protected. You know, when I sold my first annuity in 1993, that was a huge event for me. I'm sure I was as nervous as the day was long, but now here we are 35 years, or not 35 years, but 28 years later after my first annuity sale, and I'm very comfortable with it. I sell annuities all day long if a client needs it. So again, the more you talk about this, the more you implement the plan, the more you're going to help your client and the more confident you're going to become in presenting it to the client. So where do we find the money? That's the beautiful question. The money's already there. These people have to pay for their funerals at some point. So when we ask that question, when we say, hey, if you had passed away yesterday, how would you pay for your funeral today? Sometimes we'll get clients that say, well, my daughter knows I've got a CD at the bank for $12,000 that's supposed to be used for my funeral. Well, if that's the case, doesn't it make more sense to get that CD to the non-countable side? Because again, if you get sick and need care, that's a countable asset. They're going to make you spend it down. Maybe it's a penalty-free withdrawal from an annuity. Right now, with the way our taxes are currently, I would be pointing out to clients that if they're going to do this, get it done while the tax code is still good through 2025, because the way we're writing checks in this country with no money in our bank accounts, I'm sure taxes are going to go up. And yes, somebody's going to pay taxes at some point. So why not pull a penalty-free withdrawal out, pay the tax on it, get the money to the non-countable side, and know that you have things in place for your final expenses. So once you're licensed with NGL, they do a really good job with their marketing materials. And what my idea of a really good job is not pretty pictures on the front. My idea of a really good job is writing it in layman's terms so that the ordinary person can understand how important it is to put a plan in place. That's what they've done with these. So you can order these directly from Unity once you're licensed. They're color, they're gloss, they're beautiful. You can put your information on the back. But I would encourage you definitely to have these to leave with clients. One of the biggest sales I had a brochure. I went and met with the client. They were already an annuity client. They had a lot of cash value and some old policies, and we talked about moving them into the estate planning trust. So I met with them, got through my presentation. I gave her she said to me, John, you know, we don't make any decisions on the first appointment when we're going over stuff. You know, we like to sleep on it. And I told them I don't have any problem with that, but you know how I am. If I've given you the information and the brochure and you're going to sleep on it, I want to talk to you tomorrow about 1 o'clock to see what your decision is. That's enough time to make that decision. She called me the next morning at 9 a.m. She said, hey, we slept on it. We got up, we reread that little brochure you left us. Let's get the appointment set. We want to move all the money. So again, they will work. You got to get them in your client's hands in order for that to happen. This is probably one of the most important things, in my opinion, based on what I went through with my father, that Unity offers. This is a high gloss planning guide that they will make available to you for no cost. Here's why it's important. When my mentor told me anytime I did business with someone, if I left them a task and left them engaged, they are more than likely not to get buyer's remorse and want to get out of the deal. So what we do is when we write the irrevocable funeral trust or the estate planning trust, we give this planning guide to our clients and we tell them, we need you to fill this out by the time we get your contract back to you. Because Mrs. Jones, if you fill this out, I could take your contract and this document without ever meeting you, and I could walk into a funeral director's office and I could take care of your funeral, because everything that I did not know about my father, that client is going to have all that information listed in here for the funeral director. So again, if you use those two tools, and you tell them the power of, if you had never met them before, you could take care of their funeral with just that contract and this guide. It's a very powerful statement, and we've never had a client not tell us how much they appreciated having that stuff written down and knowing it was going to go according to their wishes. So once you're licensed with Unity through IAMS, they're going to give you, access to the portal. You can pull up your supplies, look at your commission reports, just about anything you're going to need, you'll be able to access through the portal. So again, I get excited about this product because I know the clients need it and I know they're thinking about it. I know there's not enough people guiding them to what they should be doing. And for those people who latch on to that, the advisors and agents that do, you're going to have an excellent income opportunity. The trusts are free to the client. They can use it at any funeral home in the country. You're going to give them that peace of mind of knowing they've got the planning done. And then again, if you hate paperwork, you'll love doing the application for this product, and you're going to get compensated well for doing it for your client. So again, I'd encourage you to really latch on, start talking to your clients about it. Start with your annual reviews. One of the nice things about annual reviews is obviously you're going out to see clients who believe in you. But the other thing, sometimes you're going out and it's not really to generate revenue, right? It's just to go out and do your job. How nice would it be to go out, meet with one of your clients, say it's a couple, write them each a $15,000 plan and get paid almost $4,000 for doing your job, which is going out and doing your reviews with your clients. So again, here's just one of the commission schedules you can look at. If you had someone 66 to 70 years old and you wrote them a plan, and you did $30,000, that's $3,950 in commission. So again, almost $4,000 for going out and doing the review. Unity does have a fast start agent bonus for your first $25,000, a face amount issued in 30 days. They'll pay you a $200 bonus.
Hey, John, can you hear me? I think that your audio cut out, John.
Sorry about that. It looked like we lost audio. But
Okay.
my mentor used to always tell me that if you make a sales conference, find the top people at that sales conference and ask them what they're doing in their business. It's how I built my business. I took ideas from some of the top producers and I implemented them, and then here we are today with a fantastic business. So remember, these guys want to talk to you. They want to share the successes of their business. So make sure if you make a sales conference that you're picking the mind of those top producers. All right, Greg, not letting me advance here.
Let's see. Sorry, we had some technical issues. Try now. Try to click your mouse first.
Okay.
No?
Can you move it to the next one? I can just let you go through the last ones there.
Sure.
All right, make sure we're on the right one. So again, remember, your clients believe in the pre-planning. They think it's a good idea. You just need to move them along, stress those benefits of pre-planning, and every client, every day, every time. So how do we get paid? They pay commissions weekly at Unity. We all know what cash with app is, just either sending it in. They'll also do a authorization or withdrawal form from their bank account. Once your business has been issued, they'll get your contract either to you or directly to the client, however you want it. One of the things I would say with Unity too, they're very good, just like IAMS, on following the business through to make sure it gets issued for you in a timely manner. There again, we talked about the brochures. You can talk to company management at any time. They'd be more than happy to take your calls. So here's the thing I'm going to wrap up with today. I'll tell you a little story about why I have this and what happened in my business, and then some of the successes that we had with it. But this has probably been 7-8 years ago now. I lose track of time, but I had a client. It was her mom was a big client of ours, had $500,000 annuity. Daughter was sole beneficiary. I got a call from the daughter one day. She said, "Hey, John, I want to let you know mom passed away." I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that." I said, "Once you get through everything you need to do with the funeral home and take your time, but probably 2 weeks, 3-4 weeks down the road, we're going to want to get together because you're the sole beneficiary of this annuity." And she said to me, "Oh, don't worry about it, John. We've already talked to the guy at the bank. He's going to handle everything for us." And that kind of upset me because I saw a $500,000 that I'd worked hard for just go right on out the door due to my carelessness. So I developed this guide for beneficiaries, and what we did is we took it out to all of our clients. We redid all their financials with them. We gave them this book, and we had some really great successes with it. So once you're licensed with Unity through IAMS, the creative team can make this available to you, and then you can brand it to your own company. So you can go to the next slide there, Greg. So what we did is we took this out to all of our existing clients, and we told them that we knew when they passed away that their beneficiaries were going to have a lot of questions. So we created this guide for beneficiaries. And what we did is we updated all of their financials, and we found out one thing: even our best clients don't tell us everything. Because over that 6 months of putting these guides out into the field with our clients, we wrote over $1.5 million in new annuity premium, about 200,000 in traditional single life, and about 150,000 in estate planning trust and irrevocable funeral trust. So we knew we were on to something. And here's what the guide looks. We'll show you what the first page looks like. So this is what our clients see. We've got it done real nice with a nice plastic oversheen cover on it. It's bound. And it really tells the client, for help settling my estate, please call my advisor at Inting Financial Services. For gosh sakes, don't call the bank. And what happens is we get phone calls off of this now. Not this past October, but the previous one. We had a client we did this for. We got a phone call from her. She said, "Hey, my dad had this guide here. It said to call you guys." I'll cut to the chase of the story. We wrote $1 million in new assets with the daughter. She's a great client today. But we feel that if we didn't have this book in this house, because she lived in Pennsylvania and we're in Ohio, that we may have never saw those assets. So again, Greg, you can go to the next page. We have a letter in here, basically, that we tell the client, thank you for the opportunity to work with you. We've assembled a team of professionals during this difficult time to help the beneficiaries get everything done. And the beneficiary guide we're only showing you a few pages, but it's about 20 pages. It tells them everything from how to write a letter to stop Social Security, get a hold of your credit card companies. It's very comprehensive. And every one of the clients that we gave these to, the amount of appreciation from them was astounding. So the next page, I'm just going to run through. Greg, I can hear a lot back there from you guys. In the confidential personal and financial organizer, this we just went through and we re-updated all of their financials. We want to know about their children. Just a funny story, it'll probably never happen again. The very first one we ever did, we asked them the question if they were expecting to receive any money or other assets from an inheritance. And God is my witness, the lady said this, well, yeah, we just had $250,000 put into our bank account last night from our mom's estate. So it's never happened again, but it was a great way to kickstart things. So that's just the first page of the organizer. You're going to see on the next one, when we get to question 8, you'll see question 8 there. Have you prepaid your funeral? If they tell us no, we don't launch into a big sales pitch. We're going to make a note there. But if they tell us they have, then we're going to ask them that question. Do you have any other assets that you would like to know that you have the opportunity to protect from a nursing home in the event that you would get sick and need care in the future? If they tell you, well, yeah, I want my granddaughter or my son to get a certain amount, then we'll use the estate planning trust. And then again, that's just the last 2 pages, just so you make sure you have all their information. And then I believe the next one is the notes, and then any questions anybody might have this morning. You there, Greg?
I am here.
Yeah. Any questions anybody has?
I think that you explained it beautifully to me. I don't have any questions at this time. I didn't see anybody asking questions in the chat either.
Okay, well, I want to just tell everyone thank you so much. I know it's a Monday morning and you're probably busy, but thank you for taking the time out to listen about Unity Financial. IAMS will be reaching out to you, I'm sure, if you have interest in getting licensed with them. And Greg, on that, I'll leave it to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you coming today. That was a really great learning experience. I learned a lot about Unity today. I do have a couple of polls, guys, I want to ask real quick if you guys would stick around to answer these for me. The first one I'm going to put up right now, and it's, could this product meet the needs of your clients? Just to gauge on, if any of the attendees have clients that this might be a good fit for. I'm going to leave this up for about a minute here, try to get some answers, and then we'll do one more and we'll be out of here. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and, oh, sorry, forgot to launch that. There we go. If you guys want to answer that question, that's the second time I've done that today. All right, thank you for answering that, guys. And I'm going to close that one, and we're going to do the last one, and that's, would you like to be contracted with Unity? I'm going to go ahead and launch that right now, and I'll leave that up for about a minute. And in the meantime, while you guys answer that, I just wanted to say thank you for attending today. I know us here at IAMS really appreciate it. And thanks again, Joan, for doing your presentation. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to IAMS, and I'm sure we'll be reaching out to you guys as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll now, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your Monday.